Hey everybody, Erik here, Florida High Performance. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. As always, thank you for the support. Thank you for the followers. Thank you for the comments. Thanks for checking us out. It means a lot to me. And we appreciate everybody coming on and checking out the cars we build. Behind me is James' 2019 ZL1 LE. Of course, one of my favorite cars. I love these things, they're awesome. James came to Florida High Performance looking to add additional horsepower and torque to his already modded ZL1. This car came to us with a Rotofab big gulp intake, long tube headers, and a lower 9-1 pulley. Basically what he wanted us to do is add a head cam package of ours, an upper pulley, and a few other little odds and ends, helping getting that horsepower and torque up, getting the boost up, so on and so forth. So obviously not a problem, something we could certainly do. We reached out to Cam Performance, who does supercharger porting for us, and they actually sent us one of their export superchargers, LT4 Superchargers, and what we're going to be doing today on this episode is comparing the factory LT4 Supercharger with an upper-lower pulley with heads and cam to a Cam export ported LT4 Supercharger, same pulleys, same intake. We will be upgrading to a 103 throttle body. And what we're going to provide you guys at home are the real world results. So we've already baselined this car. When the car came in, as I said, it was already modified, already had some things on it. The baseline was actually pretty low. It was under 600 wheel. I think it was right around 590 rear wheel horsepower and about 630 foot-pounds of torque. It's pretty low. The tune was pretty far off. So the baseline numbers weren't that great. I was expecting a lot more than that, considering it had bolt-ons and a lower pulley. Nevertheless, doesn't really matter. What we've done, basically what we've added is a set of LME ported LT4 heads, one of our custom LT4 camshafts, and of course all the other supporting modifications that go into making this thing as reliable as possible. We did add an upper pulley, so it does have an upper pulley on it to work with the lower pulley that it already has. So we are expecting a major increase in horsepower and torque as well as boost. And then when we're done testing this on 93 on the setup, as you see it here, as I said, we will be putting on that Cam export. We're going to do a back-to-back test. We will show you guys the results, and then you can see for yourself how important it is that porting these blowers, you know, is certainly something you can do, and how much power you can get out of it. So Cam Performance, thank you very much for sending the blower so that we can test it. So we're gonna get to work. I'm gonna get to tuning this thing. I've got Matt at MS Tuning out of Texas helping me with the remote tune in this car today. We're gonna get to work. We're gonna dive right into it. And next time I talk to you guys will be after we're done with the 93 tuning on this blower. We'll see what we made, and then we will move into the ported Cam LT4 Supercharger. All right, everybody, so we're back. That concludes the stock blower tuning. We wrapped that up. We did about 4 or 5 pulls. Tuning on these cars is pretty straightforward. Fueling kind of is right where it needs to be. Timing, we're on 93 octane, no meth, no fuel system upgrades, anything like that. So timing is pretty conservative. Power was lower than I would have expected on this setup. There's a few reasons for that. We're right at like 680 wheel, just over 700 foot-pounds of torque. We're peaking at about 14.5 pounds of boost, which this is a 2.3 upper and a 9.1 lower. It's about right with the heads cam setup. But we are losing boost up top between about 5,000 RPM and 6,500. It's going from 14.5 all the way down to 11.5. So it's a significant drop in boost. Might be due to a belt slip issue we're having. could also just be due to the inefficiency of a stock blower on a head cam setup. So, you know, if the car was going out the door like this, obviously we would remedy the issue. We would try a different belt, we'd try different pulley combinations, things like that. But the fact of the matter is, for this particular video and this test, we're putting a ported supercharger on this thing. I'm not too worried about it. I'm expecting the export from Kong to not only fix the boost issue up top with added flow, but I will be trying some different belts too while we're doing the swap. So again, the purpose of this video is to show gains, and gains are relative. So whether I make 700 wheel, 750 wheel, 650 wheel, so long as we're gaining after that, that's what I want to see. You know, testing and tuning and dialing these cars in is a process. It's never guaranteed. Again, so I'm not too worried about this setup at this point. 93 octane stock blower, it's not really what we're going after. We will be swapping the Kong export on now, as well as a larger throttle body. I am expecting gains across the board with this thing, especially up top. So if we were able to keep 14.5 pounds of boost across the board, we would have been well over 700 wheel, well into the 700 foot-pound torque range. So again, everything is where it's supposed to be given the circumstances and given the vitals, if you will, of the vehicle at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and get the stock supercharger off. I'm gonna swap over the Kong supercharger. I'm gonna show you guys a few things about that. And that's it. We're gonna get back to tuning. Hopefully have this thing wrapped up today. I'm very, very excited to see what this ported supercharger is gonna do in this thing. It's begging for more airflow. We're gonna give it that, and we're gonna see what we make. So thanks for hanging on, guys. Thanks for checking this video out, and we're gonna get to work, and we will see you on the other side. Here in front of me is the Kong Export LT4 Supercharger. It comes as you see it. This particular unit doesn't have any bricks in it, but this is a core unit that they sent. So I'll be swapping over the bricks from the original supercharger into this one. Not a big deal. Obviously, if you send yours in, or you buy a core from them and you know, need the bricks, it'll have them in there. But not too worried about that. That's easy enough to do. A couple bolts, boom, you swap them in. Snout's ported to 103. All right. Really nice machining work. They get really aggressive up here, so they do epoxy this shut. This thing is ready to rock. I do have the Katech 103 throttle body, which is our go-to. It's pretty much what everybody's using right now, unless you're going 112, or even I think they have 120. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on, switch the bricks over. I've got to switch over a couple of other things from James' stock supercharger to this one, and I'm gonna get back to work. So can't wait to see what this thing does. That concludes the portion of this video where we test the Kong export, and it did not disappoint. Did not disappoint. In fact, it actually exceeded our expectations. Car made really crazy power. I'll talk about that in a second. As you saw in the last segment, I basically had to switch over a few things, heat exchanger bricks, stuff like that. Very simple. Swapped the blower out, added a Katech 103 throttle body. Everything else stayed the same. Upper pulley 2.3, lower pulley 9.1. Rotofab intake was already on there. Like I said, ported supercharger from Kong, and a larger throttle body is all I added. And put it back together, made a couple hits. Remember, we're on 93, no meth, no fuel system upgrades, stock LT4 injectors, stock LT4 high side, no low side. All right, so again, we do a lot of those here, a lot of those types of builds. People don't want to get too crazy with the 85 or race gas or fuel systems, so we get as much as we can out of the stock setup that way. It's got one of our cams in it, one of our Cam Motion LT4 grinds, ported LT4 cylinder heads from late model engines, and all the other supporting modifications, as I said in the beginning of the video. Let's talk about the power. So initially I had said last time we had some boost drop between 5,500 or 5,000, 6,500 RPM or so. It was going from roughly about 14.5 pounds down to all the way to 11 11.5. Wasn't sure if it was belt slip or maybe just inefficiency from the stock blower and stock throttle body. So I figured we would see when we put the Kong on what exactly it was. It didn't change the belt again, I didn't change the pulleys, and we actually were able to hit 16 pounds of boost. And what's funny is we did not have any loss of boost up top. From 5,000 all the way to almost 7,000 RPM in this setup. Steady 15.5 to 16 pounds of boost across the board. So it turns out that the stock supercharger and stock throttle body on this head cam setup was actually the reason why we were losing that boost up top. Basically no flow, not enough air, right? The engine wanted more, the stock blower couldn't provide it, the stock throttle body couldn't provide it. So the first thing right off the bat, just with the ported supercharger under here, we picked up 2 pounds of boost, 1.5, 2 pounds of boost peak, and the boost did not fall off at all up top. So no belt slip issues, which is great. So super happy about that. What I did notice when I compare the Kong supercharger to the factory supercharger is the initial boost when we get into the throttle around 2,500 RPM on the stock blower, it's actually higher. So we peak a little higher. So our low end torque between say 2,500 and about 3,500, 4,000 is actually more in the stock setup. But then it falls off up top. With the Kong supercharger, it's a little less down low, so we make a little less torque initially, but it screams up top. We actually made more horsepower and torque with the Kong setup than we did stock. It just makes the torque later in the power band. So again, from 2,500 to 3,500 or so, whatever, that's very low in the power band. In fact, moving that peak torque up in the power band a little bit gives you a little more traction, so it's not a bad thing. And again, we're more after peak power, stuff like that. So this shined, as far as I'm concerned, shined where it needed to. I'm not too concerned about boost down low, off the hit, stuff like that. So let's talk about power. If you recall, the car came in here, sub 600 wheel, 630 or 40 foot-pounds of torque, pretty bad. Tune was way off, fueling was way off. Again, this car came in with a big Gulp rotofab. Those intakes on bolt-on cars typically hinder performance, if anything, but we were able to get away with retuning it and making a lot of power. So looking at the dyno graph, with the Kong Export 103 throttle body, heads cam on 93, relatively, again, conservative timing. This is, pump gas, we have to be careful with how much timing we run. We made 774 and 709 torque, 774 real horsepower, 709 torque. Took the pulls to about 6,600 or so. That's where they started to flatten out, which is fine. If we compare that to the stock blower, stock throttle body, heads and cam, that setup was making 676 and 702. So massive gain, massive gain between the Kong Export and the stock throttle body and stock blower. The proof is in the pudding. I'm gonna put up the dyno graph. You will see when you're looking at the graph, the peak horsepower with the Kong Export over the factory blower is massive. The peak torque is more than the factory blower. It just makes it later in the power band. You'll notice again that stock blower power band makes a little more torque down low. That's negligible, I'm not worried about it. Whatever. The car's still gonna haul, there's no doubt about it. And if you compare the dyno graphs, both of them, to what he came in with, to what James had when he dropped this car off here, the horsepower and torque is insane. And again, that's what we're always after. Reliability, performance, and miles of smiles, as they say. And I think this car is going to provide that. James, I hope you're happy with it. It was a pleasure building it. This is one of our tried and true packages, people. Heads, cam, ported blower, no Magnuson, no E85, no fuel system upgrades. Can we do these things? Absolutely. If this thing was on E85, we'd be well over 800 wheel, which is insane. I'm super happy with the results. 775 horsepower, 709 torque, moderate timing, 16 pounds of boost. This thing will run and drive every day, no problem. That's what I'm after. I love the supercharger, it did a great job. Kong, thank you so much for providing that. It did its job, we thank you again. Katech on the throttle body, thank you. Cam Ocean on the cam, late model engines on the heads. Guys, thank you so much. Again, it was a pleasure building this car. I love doing this stuff. I love the ZL1s, as you know. Guys, thank you so much for checking the video out. I hope you learned something. Again, if you want more information, you can hit me up, shoot a comment. I'd be happy to answer it. You could always email me. You can call the shop. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel helps the channel grow, helps get the information out there. I'm always looking to teach and to help people learn and to help them mod these cars. Like the video. Liking helps a lot too. That's pretty much it. So thank you very much for checking the video out. I hope again you learned something today on what it is that you can do to a ZL1 with heads cam, ported blower, and man, I can't wait to hit the street. This thing is gonna be nuts. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Peace.